I proved I was 93 miles away from the crime, but my own brother called me a predator anyway. Hi, I'm Mark, 36, and last fall my life disintegrated in a matter of 3 days because of an accusation that wasn't just false, it was logistically impossible. I run a mid-sized HVAC contracting business in Oregon. I've got 10 guys on payroll, and we specialize in commercial retrofits for government buildings and healthcare facilities. It's not flashy, but it pays well, especially when the state gets grant money and needs to spend it fast. I also teach a fundamentals class at a local trade college 2 evenings a week. Keeps me sharp. Plus, $85 an hour is nothing to sneeze at for lecturing about duct pressure and combustion analysis. The disaster started on a Tuesday. I got called into a meeting with the program director, Diane, and someone from HR I didn't recognize. No smiles. Diane folded her hands like she was about to announce a terminal illness. Mark, we've received some serious allegations from 2 students regarding your conduct at the Regional Skills Apprenticeship Expo in Eugene last month. Effective immediately, you're being placed on leave pending investigation. I stared at them. I wasn't at the expo. I was installing rooftop units at the county courthouse all weekend. Diane didn't blink. Your name is on the roster. Then the roster's wrong. I had timestamps, permits, photos, my foreman's daily reports, and even the damn crane rental invoice. I was in a hard hat for 12 straight hours that Saturday, nearly got frostbite doing line set on the north face. But none of that mattered to them. What mattered was that 2 students, who weren't even in my class, gave similar statements, and my name was on a spreadsheet. That was enough. I was out. Badge deactivated. Email locked. Security escorted me out like I was smuggling copper wire in my backpack. I called my brother, Tyler, that afternoon. Dumb move. Tyler had been waiting for a chance to prove he was the responsible one for years. He worked in nonprofit administration and ran a blog about restorative justice or some crap I never paid attention to. Hey man, I said. The school just suspended me over something I didn't do. They think I did something to students at that expo. I wasn't even there. There was a pause. Then he said, I'm really sorry to hear that. But you understand we have to take these things seriously. I already spoke with the college. I'm advising them on how to handle the fallout. He hung up before I could respond. For hours later, he made a post. My heart breaks. Someone close to me has been accused of predatory behavior toward students. As hard as it is, we must believe survivors. By morning, I was radioactive. I didn't sleep that night. Not because I was afraid, but because I couldn't wrap my head around how fast people abandoned reason. 24 hours ago, I was a respected tradesman and part-time instructor. Now, I was a trending cautionary tale on my brother's blog. By Wednesday, the dominoes were falling. My biggest contract, a $300,000 retrofit at the State Corrections Building, was pulled. The client didn't even call. I found out because my foreman texted me a photo of the empty job site and a note from the facility's director taped to the fence. We can't afford the optics. Sorry. Optics. I called my lawyer. He said I needed hard proof. Not just that I wasn't at the expo, but that I was somewhere else. I told him I was hanging compressors on the courthouse roof. You want me to mail in a chunk of insulation foam as evidence? He wasn't amused. So I got to work. I pulled the county permits, dated and signed. Got crane rental records with time-stamped lifts. The courthouse had exterior security cameras, so I requested footage. My company van's GPS log showed me at the site from 6:12 a.m. to 7:47 p.m., 3 days straight. My crew filled out daily job logs. My assistant texted me updates every 2 hours. One of the guys, Julio, even posted a selfie of us on the roof that weekend. I was standing behind him holding a hacksaw and looking like I hadn't slept since Thursday. I emailed it all to the school. Not a peep. That same afternoon, my dad called. Not to offer support. To ask what I'd done. Did you touch those girls? No. I wasn't even there. I sent you the documents. I don't want to see any documents. I want the truth. That is the truth. My mother got on the phone. Her voice was low and cold. Tyler said there were witnesses. There weren't. He hasn't seen a single piece of evidence. He didn't even ask me. She sighed, like I was exhausting her. We love you, Mark. But we have to support the process. If you're innocent, it'll come out. Click. 2 hours later, Tyler posted again. It's never easy when harm is close to home. But proximity doesn't excuse accountability. Silence protects predators. By nightfall, 3 family members had texted me variations of staying neutral or thinking of the victims. Neutral. Like that was a middle ground. Like refusing to check if I'd even been in the city wasn't taking a side. I sat alone in my apartment, surrounded by a stack of papers proving I was innocent, and realized something terrifying. No one wanted proof. They just wanted to feel righteous. By Friday, I was officially the villain in a story I hadn't even been cast in until someone else decided the role fit. My company's Instagram got flooded with angry comments. My Google reviews tanked overnight. 1-star reviews from usernames I'd never seen, calling me a predator, a danger to the community, a fraud. My teaching page at the college was deleted. My HVAC crew started asking if they should be looking for other work. Then came the police. Not handcuffs. Not sirens. Just a polite knock from a tired-looking detective who wanted to ask a few questions. I invited him in. He sat on my couch, scanned my place like he expected to see a dungeon in the kitchen, and asked where I was April 7th through 9th. I was working the courthouse retrofit. I've got proof. He nodded, but didn't seem thrilled. Like that complicated things. Can you send it to me? He asked. I've already sent it to the school. They didn't care. He gave me a tight smile. We're not the school. I emailed him the whole file. Permits. GPS logs. Timestamped photos. Security badge swipes. The works. He looked through a few of them while sipping the coffee I offered. Then he nodded again, slower this time. We'll follow up. That was it. He left. No charges. No arrest. Just the implied threat of what could happen if I couldn't prove the obvious. Tyler, meanwhile, doubled down. He posted a long Medium article titled, "When the Wolf Wears Work Boots." It didn't name me directly, but it didn't have to. He quoted anonymous sources. Talked about patterns of inappropriate behavior from male instructors in the trades. Cited statistics about assault in vocational settings. Called for systemic change and moral courage in the face of familial discomfort. The post went viral. I lost 2 more contracts that week. My bank froze my business credit line citing reputation-based risk. My assistant quit via text. You're a good guy, Mark. But I've got a family. I couldn't blame him. I was bleeding cash and public opinion. The only person who stuck by me was my buddy Ray, the one guy who cared enough to say, "Screw Tyler. Let's prove he's full of it." We sat in my garage that night going through every shred of evidence. Then Ray leaned back in his chair and said the 6 words that flipped the switch. This isn't about evidence anymore, man. I looked up. It's about vengeance. I didn't say anything, but I didn't sleep that night, either. Something broke loose in me that night. I realized this wasn't going to end by proving I was innocent. I already had. I could have dropped a notarized affidavit from God himself, and Tyler would have called it victim intimidation. So I flipped the script. First thing Monday morning, I hired a lawyer. Not some bargain bin public defender. A litigator. A bulldog. Her name was Sasha Patel, and she had the energy of someone who didn't lose often and didn't forgive liars. She'd done Title IX cases, defamation suits, and once made a school district settle in 36 hours after they tried to expel a kid based on gossip. She took one look at my file, raised an eyebrow, and said, "They cooked this. No kidding. Let's make them eat it." We got to work. She sent legal preservation letters to the college, to the HR office, to Diane, the program director, to the 2 students' parents, to Tyler, anyone who might have touched the story or helped it grow. Those letters were shot across the bow. Destroy a single email or text after this, and it's a federal problem. Then she filed public records requests with the expo organizers. Guess what? I wasn't on the attendance list. Not as an instructor. Not as a guest. Not even as a damn volunteer. Meanwhile, I did my own digging. Turns out the college had used a template roster from the previous year for initial prep. My name was on that one. They never updated it before sending it to chaperones. Dr. Diane had seen it, assumed I was there, and connected the dots when the girls gave vague descriptions about someone instructor-aged, making them uncomfortable. That dot connecting became coaching. Sasha subpoenaed the college emails. Boom. We got them. One from Diane to HR. Mark's name was on the initial roster. The students didn't mention him by name, but their descriptions are consistent. We should proceed assuming he was present. Another. Let's avoid specifics until we get legal guidance. We can't let this escalate without a united narrative. A united narrative. They weren't looking for truth. They were managing optics. But the best came from Tyler. He'd been messaging the students' families behind the scenes, coaching them on how to maintain credibility under pressure, encouraging them not to worry about timelines or specific details, telling them that logistics are what abusers use to discredit victims. He'd even told one parent, "If Mark sends any evidence, don't respond. Let the college handle it." Engaging directly risks muddying the waters. He was so sure of his righteousness, he documented his own manipulation. Sasha just smiled. "He built your case for you." I nodded. "Let's bury them with it." 3 weeks later, we filed the first lawsuit: defamation, interference with business relations, and negligent misrepresentation against the college and Tyler. The college got real quiet, real fast. Their attorney sent us a nervous email about resolving this amicably. Translation: they knew they were cooked. But we weren't biting yet. Then came the police report. The detective, the same guy who'd sipped coffee on my couch, called Sasha personally. His tone was different this time. "Just wanted to let you know we're closing the investigation. We confirmed you weren't at the expo. The girls' statements don't hold up. Your alibi's airtight." "Are they charging anyone?" Sasha asked. Long pause. "Not yet, but we are reviewing the conduct of certain faculty members involved in the initial intake." Translation: someone's job was about to get very awkward. But Tyler? Oh, Tyler doubled down. Instead of backing off, he posted a 2,000-word essay titled "The Price of Speaking Out Against Power." He wrote about gaslighting abusers, weaponized litigation, and how the brother I thought I knew has become a symbol of systemic rot. He still hadn't looked at a single piece of evidence. Sasha printed the post and stapled it to our motion for punitive damages. But Tyler wasn't just trying to win in court of public opinion. He was trying to get ahead of a storm. Because unbeknownst to him, we had one more surprise coming. Remember the crane rental company from the courthouse job? They'd recently upgraded their cameras for insurance purposes. Guess who had crystal clear, high-res video footage of me in a hard hat, on site, for all 3 days of the expo weekend? Time-stamped. Dated. Me, Julio, the crew. A literal paper trail you could watch. We put that on a thumb drive and mailed it to the college's legal team with a note. "You sure you want to take this to trial?" 2 days later, they offered to settle. $140,000, public apology, expunged employment record. Sasha laughed so hard, she almost fell off her chair. "Tell them they forgot to add Diane's resignation to the offer." We sent back our terms. $250,000. Full apology published in 3 local newspapers. Department-wide investigation into student misconduct protocols. Diane's immediate termination. And a written letter to every business that had dropped my contract, stating the allegations were false. They took 4 days to reply. But when they did, they folded. The settlement dropped on a Tuesday morning. Sasha sent me the scanned copy with the subject line. Well. It had everything. The money, the apology, the requirement for a policy overhaul. But my favorite part? The personal letters. One by one, every contractor, vendor, supplier, and client who had ghosted me got a certified document from the college, stating the allegations made against Mark Hendricks were unfounded. After a comprehensive review, we confirm he was not present at the event in question and no evidence supports any wrongdoing on his part. We apologize for any confusion or reputational harm caused. Some tried to smooth things over immediately. My main supplier called within 2 hours of getting the letter. "Mark, buddy, big misunderstanding, huh? Let's get you back on net, 30 terms." "Yeah," I said. "Maybe, after you cover my rush order fees from the past 6 weeks." Even the state corrections project that had bailed came crawling back. "Would you be open to rebidding?" they asked. "Sure," I said, at 20% over what I originally quoted. That includes a forgetfulness surcharge. Sasha loved that. But Tyler? Tyler was still living in the clouds. He posted again, because of course he did, claiming that the college had capitulated under legal pressure and that the real tragedy was how institutions choose liability over accountability. His post got maybe 50 likes. Sasha printed it, added it to the pile, and said, "He's next." Because our second lawsuit, the big one, was now moving forward. Defamation, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and civil conspiracy. We had receipts for everything. His messages to the families, his blog posts, his refusal to even open the evidence I'd sent. The deposition was scheduled for the following month. But Tyler, oh Tyler, He just kept digging. We found a message he'd sent to one of the students' moms. If Mark tries to present evidence, remind her that trauma makes timelines unreliable. The facts aren't the point. The harm is. He really believed that. Facts weren't the point. Truth was optional. He was in too deep to walk it back. But the real kicker? We discovered he'd pitched a book deal. Yep. The courage to cut ties. Speaking truth when it costs you everything. He had 3 sample chapters, a full proposal, and had submitted it to 6 different publishers. We printed the manuscript. Every page was evidence, and every sentence reeked of a man who was about to get dragged. The morning of Tyler's deposition, Sasha handed me a legal pad and said, "If he lies, don't react. Let the silence bury him." We met in a glass-walled conference room downtown. He looked rough, gaunt, hair thinning, a suit that didn't quite fit. His lawyer was a twitchy junior associate who seemed more worried about spilling his coffee than defending a defamation suit. Sasha started calm. "State your name for the record." "Tyler Hendricks." "And your relationship to the plaintiff?" "He's my brother." She nodded, flipped a page, and began the gentle dismantling. "You made multiple public statements asserting your belief in the allegations against your brother, correct?" "Yes." "And you never personally verified he was at the event where the alleged incident occurred?" Silence. "Then no, I didn't verify." "You received emails from the plaintiff containing documentation proving his whereabouts, and you didn't open them?" "I was advised not to." "By whom?" "A beat. I made the decision." Sasha nodded like she was just keeping time. "You messaged the families of the 2 accusers and told them not to respond to Mark if he tried to share evidence?" "I was trying to protect them." "From what? Truth?" "Objection." Sasha waved it off. Then came the real hit, the book deal. "Mr. Hendricks," she said, flipping to a bound packet. "Did you pitch a non-fiction manuscript about this situation while litigation was ongoing?" Tyler's mouth opened, then shut. "We have emails," she continued. "You titled it The Courage to Cut Ties. In it, you refer to your brother, the plaintiff, as a man with a pattern of predatory behavior. Were you aware, at the time, that police had cleared him and that multiple witnesses confirmed he was 93 miles away from the alleged incident?" His face drained of color. "Yes or no?" I thought." "Yes or no?" "No. I didn't know." Sasha leaned back and smiled. "Thank you." The rest was cleanup. She walked him through every statement he'd made, each post, message, and blog entry, then dropped the crane footage on the table. Tyler stared at it. That's your brother. Working, while you were publicly branding him a predator." He didn't say a word for the rest of the deposition. Outside the room, his lawyer approached Sasha and said, "We'll talk settlement." Sasha didn't blink. He's not getting out of this for cheap. The offer came in 2 days later. Tyler's lawyer sent over a proposed settlement, $60,000, sealed proceedings, mutual non-disparagement, and no admission of wrongdoing. Sasha didn't even read it twice. She slid the email across the table to me and said, "He thinks he can pay to make this disappear." I didn't answer right away, just stared at the number. "You want to accept?" she asked, watching me closely. I shook my head. "No. He destroyed my name for attention. For a book deal. For likes. I want every word of this on the record." She nodded. "Then we bury him." We filed for trial. And once the judge approved open proceedings, the local press took notice. One paper ran the headline, "Instructor falsely accused Sue's brother. College over fabricated allegations." Another went bigger. "Cleared but canceled. Contractor pushes back after being convicted by #." Suddenly, everyone had questions. Reporters called Tyler for comment. He posted a frantic Twitter thread claiming he was being persecuted by patriarchal systems designed to protect abusers. Nobody cared this time. The tide had shifted. Even people who had unfollowed me months ago started creeping back. An old client messaged, "Hey Mark, didn't realize what actually happened. That was messed up. You open to bidding our new HVAC install?" Another, "We just read the article. If you're available, we'd like to talk commercial maintenance again." I was still angry, but now it had purpose. The college, meanwhile, fired Diane quietly and launched an internal review of faculty handling misconduct reports. No public statement. No acknowledgement. But we found out through discovery that they offered her a retirement package. They didn't want her testifying under oath. Too bad. She got subpoenaed anyway. The judge approved witness lists and scheduled trial for June. Tyler's lawyer asked for another delay. The judge denied it. We were locked in. One more month and the entire circus, every post, every lie, every ignored email, would be on the public record. And I would finally get to speak for myself. Not as an accused man, as the one they tried and failed to silence. The trial opened on a Monday morning under gray skies and tension thick enough to chew. Jury selection was swift. Our side wanted people who valued facts. Tyler's side wanted people who cried during Oprah. The court clerk read out the claims: defamation, emotional distress, interference with livelihood. Every juror looked over at Tyler like they weren't sure whether to pity him or throttle him. He wouldn't look at me. Sat hunched behind his lawyer, shuffling paper like it might somehow erase the last year of his life. Sasha started strong. She opened with the video. The jury watched me, hard hat on, standing on a rooftop cutting sheet metal while Tyler's posts, blown up on a projector, branded me a predator. The contrast was brutal. Then came the evidence. The subpoenaed texts Tyler sent instructing families to ignore timeline distractions. The blog posts. The book proposal. The college's internal emails referencing him as a vocal advocate who might get litigious if contradicted. His refusal to open any of my proof. Each fact hit like a body shot. And Sasha delivered them with surgeon-like precision. When it was Tyler's turn on the stand, he crumbled. Sasha was calm, surgical. You stated repeatedly that Mark's innocence was irrelevant. That what mattered was emotional impact. Did you ever consider you were manufacturing trauma by encouraging these families to distrust their own doubts? I was trying to help. Help who? Your brother? The students? Or yourself? He blinked hard. You told Kayla's mother not to let her change her statement even after she expressed uncertainty. Why? Because backing down sets a precedent that abusers can scare victims into silence. Or because you'd already gone public and couldn't admit you might have been wrong. His voice cracked. I thought I was doing the right thing. And now? He looked at me. Really looked, for the first time in over a year. I ruined his life. The courtroom was silent. Even the judge stopped writing. Tyler's lawyer didn't ask a single question on redirect. Just whispered something and sat down with the energy of a man who knew they'd already lost. The jury got the case Thursday afternoon. They deliberated for 3 hours. 3. They came back unanimous, liable on all counts. The damages? $200,000 in compensatory, $100,000 in punitive. Full public retraction posted on every platform Tyler had used to accuse me. He didn't say a word when the verdict was read. His wife didn't show up. Neither did our parents. Just me, Sasha, and a few loyal friends in the second row. The ones who never stopped believing I wasn't the villain in someone else's fantasy. It was over. The court adjourned. Tyler left without looking back. His lawyer mumbled something about appeals, but everyone knew that was posturing. There was nothing left to appeal. The truth had been unshakable. I walked out of that courthouse not just cleared, but vindicated. And then, the letters started coming. From old clients, contractors, even former students. Not all apologies. Some were just quiet acknowledgments. A forwarded article. I didn't realize what really happened. A contract renewal with no explanation. I didn't chase anyone. I didn't have to. Rebuilding wasn't fast, but it was real. The settlement money helped. I bought a building, a warehouse off McAllister Avenue I'd been eyeing for years. Converted half into a training center, the other half into a workshop. Hired back my foreman, 2 of my old crew, even Ray, who became my right hand. I started teaching again, not at the college, but on my terms. A weekend certification program I built from scratch, trade skills, job site ethics, how to survive when the system turns on you. We had 30 students by the second session. Word spreads fast when you teach with scars. And Tyler? Well, he lost the book deal, of course. No publisher wants to get sued into bankruptcy. His nonprofit quietly pushed him out for unrelated organizational reasons. He tried to pivot, new blog, new persona, some half-hearted attempt at rebranding as a victim of cancel culture backlash. Nobody bought it. The shine had worn off. The problem with building a platform on moral certainty is, once people see you were wrong, it collapses and buries you in the rubble. Our parents never reached out again. Not after the trial. Not after the settlement. Not even after my face showed up on the cover of Oregon Trade's weekly under the headline. Cleared. Rebuilt. Unbent. And I'm okay with that. I used to think justice would feel like a parade. Vindication. Cheers. Fireworks. Turns out, it's quieter than that. It's waking up with a name that's yours again. It's walking through a job site without people whispering. It's seeing your crew laugh during lunch break and knowing that, no matter how close the world came to breaking you, it didn't. You bent, but you didn't snap. I didn't win back everyone. Didn't need to. Because when the dust settles and the lies collapse under their own weight, you don't need an apology from the people who burned you. You just need to keep building and let them watch from the outside where they belong.